Hello and welcome to That Football Podcast, your weekly dose of everything football. I'm your host, Massimo Czarszewski, and I'm joined by Tom Manuel, and this is episode 4. How are you, Tom?
Yeah, good mate, how are you?
Yeah, not bad. It's pretty nice weather in San Salvador, Argentina. It's been a bit sunny lately.
Yeah, no, the weather's warming up a little bit. It's been cold for the past few weeks, but the sunlight's been good.
So, Tom, today we're going to get to know you, right? So, let's go straight in. What got you into football?
Well, I wanted to play Australian football, but I wasn't allowed to because my dad wouldn't let me due to the high injuries that Australian football concedes. But yeah, so then I gave soccer or football a crack, and I was playing at a young age, like 8 years old, and yeah, I've just been playing ever since.
So, obviously, for the audience who do not know, Tom is not from Perth, Western Australia, the capital. He's from a town up north called Geraldton. Is that right?
Correct.
So, obviously, you lived in Geraldton for 18 years of your life. So, obviously, your first club would have been in Geraldton. So,
Yeah, I started at a club called Olympic Heat, good club. And then when I was 14, I moved to a club called Abrolhos Vikings, and yeah, so I played with Abrolhos until I was 17.
what do you think of the standard in Geraldton?
Yeah, it's pretty questionable. I wouldn't say it's the greatest. Pretty rough, pretty dirty. Pitches aren't great. Refs are pretty biased. But it's just local footy, really. It's just all about having fun.
So, what will be your usual schedule when you're in Geraldton? Like, training throughout the week?
Training's usual schedule, school during all week. But when it came to football, we trained either once or twice a week.
Once or twice a week?
Yeah.
That's not like a normal club.
No, I wouldn't say it's a normal at all. It was always a Thursday night, and then if the weather's pretty bad, they'll always call it off. If there's just a cloud in the sky, they'll call the training off. So it was pretty hit and miss, the training, so it wasn't the greatest.
So we are to know that you were a pretty good prospect in Geraldton, right? And you actually got called down to this thing called Country Week, where people from all across like WA, the rural areas, they come down to Perth, West Australia as a tournament. So I'm to know that you've been there a few times for Country Week. What was your experience like?
Yeah, it's wicked. Definitely would do it again for sure. So you started off in like under 11s. So I did it every single year possible, and it finishes off when you're in the under 17. So 2 years ago was my last year. And, it's a great experience. Basically, just the people from Geraldton get selected into a group or a team, and then you go down to Perth and you verse like other regional like country towns and stuff.
And how would the games be like there? Because obviously you verse rural people versus like people from the city. Like, what would the games be like? Win, lose, level?
Geraldton was pretty good actually. We weren't too bad. Won 2 tournaments during my, I think it was 6 years I did it. 6 or 7 years, I think. But the quality's definitely there. It's good competition, always a good adrenaline boost. Getting down there to the pitch, warming up, seeing another team. It was good vibes. Everyone in the team was really friendly, and we all collaborated really well with each other. It was good to make lifelong friends.
So you would have played, this is like selecting the best people from like Geraldton and other rural areas, so you would have played with other good prospects. Who have you played with that's really, really good as you've been a part of Country Week with? Some players.
In my team?
Yes, in your team.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple good guys in my team for sure. One of them in particular had definitely a lot of potential, but I think he got unfortunate with injuries. I think he lacked the spirit a little bit, but there's definitely guys in my team that had major potential.
Yeah, so 17, 18 years at Geraldton. Then you moved down to Stirling Macedonia in Perth. What's it like?
Well, I'll tell you how I got there, really. It was a bit of a weird one how I got there. So basically, my younger brother, he was in a competition for football in Bali, and my dad went with him. And then he was sitting in the stands watching my brother play. And then he overheard one of the parents saying, "Oh, I'm coaching an NPL team this year." And then Dad walked over and he said, "Oh, what club's that?" Started asking questions and everything. And after, talking and chatting, the guy gave me a opportunity saying, "Oh, you know what, I'll give your son a crack." And so yeah, I got the opportunity. So in November, I think it was November, I went down and trialled over 1 week. So it was 3 training sessions or 3 days. And yeah, so I trialled out against, I think you were there, mate. You were there.
I was there, mate.
You were there. Massimo was there. I think it was like, 60 kids, you reckon?
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, there was quite a few, I think 60, 65. And yeah, got selected into the team of 20, I think. 18, 20. So yeah, it was actually pretty decent. Definitely lots of potential and good competition out there. But yeah, so I got selected, then I moved down. So then we started pre-season end of November, I think. So I was flying back and from Perth to Geraldton quite a bit, using Dad's frequent flyer points, obviously. And so yeah, I was at my nana's house down there, got a train, next day fly back to Geraldton, because we haven't organised a house there yet. But I think early January, I was able to move into my nana's house full time. So it made life a lot easier than flying back and forth, stuff like that.
So you played there at Stirling Macedonia for 1 season.
Yeah, 1 season.
And how did the season go?
At the start, it was really good. All the boys seemed like really, really into it, like pretty fired up. Pre-season training was very hard, a lot more harder than Geraldton, obviously, 1 training a week. But with this coach called Aaron, and he was really particular on at the start mental game, and he used a lot of different training strategies that Premier League teams and high division clubs use, which I liked. I really found that really good, and their training's very hard. But then over time, his training kind of changed direction. He was being a bit more harsher on us, I guess. It wasn't really, it was just criticising in the end, and I think a lot of our players lost confidence, and they caused confrontation, and then eventually, before the season even started, the club got rid of Aaron. They kicked him out because the kids weren't liking him, and then parents got involved, stuff like that. It's a long story. So yeah, the start of the season wasn't a good start. Already got onto our second coach before the first game. And then I actually got injured in training. I had an Achilles injury, so I missed the first, 4 or 5 games. So that kind of took a big blow. And then I had to try and train this new coach. And at the start, he didn't like me. I told him I was a midfielder. And he blatantly said to my face, he said, "Tom, you're not a midfielder. I don't know where you play, but you're not a midfielder." Took it to heart a little bit, got to me a little bit. Took me a week to kind of adjust to him saying that to me, but I wanted to prove him wrong. So about week 7, I started playing games. So my first week back, I started for the team. We lost. We didn't have any wins that season, but this one game in particular, I was playing right back. And then our midfielder got injured. He got subbed off. So he moved me into midfield, and I played really well. The rest of the game I played midfield. And then guess what? The week after, I was starting in the midfield position. So I proved them wrong, so I was thankful for that. But yeah, the rest of the season, we were really struggling. Team was losing hope. Training wasn't as intense. But we had a couple wins. I think we won 2 or 3 games. And I think we won 3 games in the end out of 2018. It was a pretty rough season, definitely physically and mentally, just draining really, losing every single weekend, training hard and getting smashed. It wasn't a good thing, but it was an eye-opener, definitely.
Yeah, it's a tough one mentally, but the competition definitely would have been better in the NPL in Perth and Geraldton.
Oh, for sure. I'm glad I moved. I'm glad I took the change, and took advantage of the situation and used it well.
So fast forward to the end of last year, and then you end up in Argentina. Can you tell us a story about how that happened?
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, I must admit, a bit of a weird one. So, obviously playing in Perth, and then, I knew this guy who had contacts with a man called Marcelo. He's an agent, and so this guy gave me his contact, and so I just messaged him saying, "Hey, how you doing? Are you free for a call? I want to, get to know you and see if I can join his academy at the time. He had an academy called the MJ Soccer Academy. Definitely check it out. It's a pretty good one. And then, I contacted him. He called me, and he told me basically said that I want you to be here on this Saturday at this time at this certain park. And I had at this point in time, it was a pre-season, and I had a pre-season match at like 9 o'clock. And I couldn't make it, and I told him, I can't make it. And he said, okay, if you can't make it, I'm not going to put you in part of my academy. Said it was just really sharp, and I was like, okay, fine then. So then, didn't show up at the academy, played the game, never heard from him. And then like 3 or 4 months later, he calls me out of nowhere, and he says, Tom, there's a position available. Are you free this Saturday at like 6:30 in the morning? On a Saturday before the game. I had a game on Saturday. And I was thinking like this, what? Like, who trains before a game? Like, what even is this? But I showed up anyway. I met the guy, and he liked me. He said I'm a good player, saw potential in me, so he said, yeah, you can join the academy, so I did. It was just really weird. It was like, he first at the start, he said no, and then 4 months later, he just contacted me out of nowhere saying, come down. So, and then from this, Marcelo set up me for a club in Argentina, which was a bit, mind-blowing really. Coming from a boy from Geraldton who's only seen country football and only trained once a week, to flying out to Argentina to play for a third division club. So I was pretty chuffed with it. And then, so this is about, I think it was June? I think June it was. And then the date was September. So, he told me to quit Stirling Macedonia. He told me to leave Stirling now, fly out there now. But at this point in time, I was a starting player for my club, and I was doing well. And all the boys loved me. I didn't want to disrespect the club, And I told him, I'm not going to do that. I can't disrespect the club. And so he arrogantly agreed with me. And then, end of season, Stirling was in September. So it was like September 10th, I flew out to Argentina. And then, finished up the season there until like November 27th, I think I flew out back to Australia.
And you flew out to club in Argentina. Whereabouts was this club?
It's based in a region, it's called the Rio Negro region, which basically means, Black River, if you translate from Spanish to English. A bit weird, but it was a small country town called Viedma, just a little bit bigger than Geraldton actually. I think it was like 65,000 people there. So it was, pretty small, isolated, but, I got there. I was staying with the president at the time, and good club grounds. The club's called Sol de Maggio. Great facilities, stuff like that.
And how was your time at the club over there? Yeah,
it was definitely interesting seeing the different players of style compared to Australia to Argentina. Just the overall vibe of what the boys brought to their each training session, stuff like that. I was lucky enough to train with the first team for I think about 2 weeks or a week and a half, not long, because I just caught them before their season finished. So I was training with them for about a week and a half, which is good. But then after that, I was training with the reserves and the Primera Local, which is basically the second team. So training every single day. It was good. Boys are good. Definitely good vibes.
Yeah, and apart from Argentina and Australia, of course, you have any other experiences elsewhere playing football?
Yeah, so in the end, I was kind of a bit homesick, really, coming to the end of the year. Obviously, flying out from Geraldton in January, and then season finished in Perth, and flying straight away to Argentina. So I hadn't been home for basically a year. And so I was flying home, and then like 2 days before I was gonna fly home, of course, Marcelo sends me a message, and I open it, and he says, "Tom, I've got you trials in Italy. Are you down or not? I need to know in 2 days' time." And I was just sitting there like, what the heck? I was just like, there's no way. And then I called my dad straight away, and he said, "You know what, Tom, these opportunities don't come often, just take it." So I was like, you know what, we'll send it. And I think it was like December 8th. So I came back, it's like November 27th, and on like this December 8th, I flew back out to Italy, or something, it was like December 10th, I think. So it was near Christmas, and I was lucky enough to bring my girlfriend. She wanted to come, so I brought my girlfriend at the time, or still now my girlfriend, to come along with me for like, I think it was about 2.5 weeks. So yeah, it was definitely wicked seeing, Italy/Europe in like Christmas time, and everyone's happy vibes, celebrating, the festive season. But yeah, definitely. So I trained with 2 clubs, Pontedera and Frosinone. I think that's how you pronounce it. So yeah, definitely a good experience.
How'd you go in those trials? Did you get some feedback? How'd you think you went?
Yeah, so started off at the first club, Pontedera. I was there for 1 week. Yeah, I thought I played pretty well. The clubs so after the week, the clubs were in talks with me about potentially giving me an opportunity there. But I think their season was almost finished, and they have, I think, too many members at the time. They had quite a few, so I don't think they were ready prepared to sign another player. But I thought I trained pretty well. Definitely the boys, they're a lot more like hard shelled. They love football. You can definitely tell. It's like their life, football. And they took the game really seriously, which I kind of liked. It's very hard physically. They're really brutal and stuff like that, which is good. And then the second week, I was at a club called Frosinone, and yeah, it was a bit different. I definitely preferred the first club, Pontedera. But Frosinone, the boys are pretty good. Again, like different vibes. Each club's got a different vibe, different type of players. But it was a positive experience. I didn't train as well there. I definitely trained better at the first club. But I still enjoyed my time there, definitely.
So, fast forward to 2025. A new experience, a new turn of events happen. Can you tell us what happens this year, 2025?
Yes, 2025. It's come off to a bit of a weird start, I must say. So finally, I get back to good old Geraldton, December 20th. 4 days before Christmas, or 5 days. And I get back, I think just after Christmas. I think it was like January 3rd. Again, Marcelo, classic Marcelo, calls me up, sends me a message, can't remember. And he says, "Tom, I've got you a new club. It's in Argentina, and it's a Division 2 club, so 1 division higher." So I was set to go back to Salto Maggio in February. That was the plan. Go back to Salto Maggio, Division 3, and play there for the season. But of course, Marcelo, changes things up. So Division 2 clubs on the table here. I've got a choice. We're going to tell them in the next 2 days we want to, stay at Salto Maggio and move to the new Division 2 club. I like a good challenge, so I accepted it. I said yes. So the club's called Gimnasia Jujuy. And so change of plans. I think it was like February 17th I flew out. Missed the first few weeks of pre-season, but I arrived there. Gimnasia Jujuy, great facilities. Definitely a lot bigger of a club, definitely. You can definitely tell. Quality's better. Everyone's really sharp. They're really, into it, which is good. But yeah, new club. It's where I'm here right now. So yeah, so far so good.
So you mentioned before when you went to Saldemar, you played for the reserves and also trained with like the Premier Lacau and the first team. When you were coming to Gimnasio Hawkeye, how did you settle in and did you go back to the reserves for Gimnasio Hawkeye?
So I got to Gimnasia, and Marcelo told me that he'll be training with the first team, which is I was thinking like, wow, that's a big jump, like that's huge because this is a second division club, and so it's going to be really physical. They're all going to be really good, but then things changed. I think I'm not too sure what happened, and then I joined the Premier Lacau, which is the second team. Getting there, I was thinking I was like the next hot shot there. I was like, oh yeah, I'll wipe these kids out of the park. I was really up myself. But then I got there, and they were definitely really talented. Took me a little bit to get used to actually the speed of the play and stuff like that, especially for like a second division team, and the second team. So it's definitely a big jump compared to inside the match I was playing in the third team basically. So I'm in the second division club playing for the second team, which is a big jump. And so it took me a few weeks to get used to it, but I'm slowly getting into it now. The boys are all really positive, they're all good laughs and stuff like that. But the Premier Lacau was definitely a decent side. I was pretty shocked actually the level of what they play at. But it's been a good challenge. I'm still in the middle of it right now.
Yeah, so you've played a few games, obviously came off the bench. It's not easy coming to a new club. You played reserves before, now you play Premier Lacau. So what would you say is probably the best? Like Gimnasio Hawkeye, Sol de Mayo, the level, the quality, like what's your overall opinion on the Argentine football game? How they play?
Here's what I say. The level and the quality, Gimnasio Hawkeye. It's clear. So clear. The boys, the level, everyone's just really good, really into it. Physicality's there, they're all like into each other, like they're all getting riled up and stuff like that. But it comes at a cost, being so into it, so determined and so feisty and fiery about it. It kind of loses that kind of fun, kind of flair to it. Whereas Sol de Mayo, it was Division 3, and I just found like it was more, definitely, I'm not saying it wasn't like intense, but it was more like, fun and relaxing compared to Gimnasia. Which sometimes I think, I wish I stayed at Sol de Mayo, because sometimes, you feel like, I can't handle training today. I don't want to deal with like, boys yelling at me and stuff like that, but in the long run, it's going to help me out. So definitely, Gimnasia is definitely got better quality, but I would say overall vibe and happiness, Sol de Mayo had that kind of relaxed feeling to it, like a family vibe almost. It was a bit weird. I don't know how to explain it properly, but yeah, I'll put it like that.
And obviously, your objectives for the year and what are you expecting in the future? Will it be Gimnasio Hawkeye? Will it be maybe somewhere else?
Yeah, so right now I'm contracted for 2 years, so I still got next year at Gimnasia. But to be honest, I'm not overly too sure at the moment. I'll just see what life throws at me, really. I'm not 100% sure. If I stay at Gimnasia for 3 or 4 years, I wouldn't really mind, to be honest. I'm not fast, let's just say that. I'll take anything, really.
It's good to hear. Thank you, Tom, for coming on the podcast today.
Cheers, Massimo. Appreciate it, mate.
No problem. Thank you.